Recorded live from the unfinished loft project of Des's home just outside Brighton in Sussex, welcome to the 200 to £100,000 Challenge podcast. This is your no thrills, no BS, and absolutely no get-rich-quick or passive income promises hub. Hosted by your man, Des Hamilton.
Hello, and a warm welcome to every one of you out there in pursuit of transformation and triumph. I'm Des Hamilton, and you're listening to the 200 to £100,000 Challenge podcast. Here is where we unfold the raw, real story of turning that £200 that I snaggled from the joint account into a life-changing £100,000. And not just that, we're building this e-commerce empire that will be the ticket to the fabled financial freedom for my wife and me. Since we last spoke, I published my monthly results for month 14 of the challenge. The headline was that I only hit 11% profit, when 30% is my target. I knew really early on in the month of October this would be a low month for us because we hit pause basically on the progress of two of my biggest earners, which are the mentoring program and the Amazon selling. I'm not going to talk about the mentoring now, as there's going to be a lot of detail later on with our guest this week. But the Amazon selling aspect is something that I will quickly cover before we get into the show. My wife and I, Claire, we made this conscious decision to stop sending in products from online arbitrage. Not for any sinister reason about the pros and cons of online arb, because there are pros and cons of online arb. I do feel like we're getting towards the end of the road of where our ceiling is, and that we would need to adapt that using online arb for various methods. We'll cross that bridge later. Online arb does hold a special place in my heart, but we do have big plans for expansion in 2024 with our Amazon selling, bigger orders, wholesale orders, bundling, branching into different markets. So we have made the decision to go VAT registered sooner rather than later to avoid that potential to have a bunch of stock in our inventory that we've analysed and prepared and calculated our profits on. If we then go VAT registered, we will take a massive hit on all of those profits that we had planned if we have stock in our inventory. So instead, we're going to sell. So instead, we're going to use quarter four to sell as much as possible without sending more in, so that when we do go VAT registered, it won't be quite so painful. And now, being in quarter four when we make this decision, that's not ideal. Of course, it's not. But we're not ready to hold off the growth plans we've got. So we are taking a small term. It's not even a loss, is it? We're still making profit, but it is a small term dent in the progress we've made to benefit the long-term plans. So for the month of November, we might have lost the battle of what was 30% growth, but the war of the empire building is well on track. And I want to say out loud as well that in terms of what progress I'm actually making, in terms of the challenge, I'm still 6 months ahead of schedule, which is insane at month 14. We've still got loads and loads of room to play around in, which is fine. Before we get into the rest of the show, I want to talk about a comment we had on the Facebook group from Kim. Hello, Kim, by the way, if you're listening. How are you doing? This comment really struck a chord, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it. Every Sunday, I send out an automated welcoming post to all of the new members to the Facebook group, and it's always great to see new people starting their journeys, preparing to start their journeys, and then especially sharing their journeys. I'm mostly off grid on Sundays with the kids, either, I don't know, going for a walk or being used as a model for a makeover session. But I do always catch up on these comments. And this message from Kim was simple, but it was profound. I really want to get started, she said, but I'm terrified. And you know what? That's much more common than you think. It is a common sentiment. Many of us feel overwhelmed or scared of failing. There's this accountability as we age, especially for those of us around my age, around the 43-year-old mark, give or take 10 years. The arrogance of youth is something, and it's not I don't demean the youth when I say that. I had it. When I was 20, it was all about football, beer, and probably more courage in social situations than I should have had. But when you see these youngsters today, these 20-year-olds today, using that arrogance, call it confidence, and generating the success that some of them have had. That's fascinating to me, and I've got nothing but respect to them because it's nothing that I would have done 20 years ago, nothing at all. And I'm wanting to be like them now in my 40s. But as you get older, with responsibilities, mortgage, rent, kids, loans, credit, that fear of failure, it does magnify. Stepping out of your comfort zone becomes a massive leap because you've got decades and decades of being in a safe lane. But here's the thing, life-changing decisions are often about changing your habits, not just making a big one-off choice. I always go back to that episode of Friends where Chandler runs out on Monica the day they get married and Ross tells him just to take baby steps. So why don't we do that? Not get married to Monica, but why don't we start small? Read up. Use resources from my Facebook group, my YouTube channel. Or I'll tell you what, I'll give you permission. You can go and speak to other people that don't necessarily come from my world and get advice. If you've got some cash set aside for this, just invest a bit of it in stock. It doesn't have to be all of it, nothing crazy. A couple of £100 like I did. And if it goes wrong, it's a lesson learned. But what if it works? Like it has worked for so many people before you. What if you decide to scale up slowly, bit by bit? And before you know it, this now becomes a part of your life and starts taking over your life because you start enjoying it. Maybe you even get a bit obsessed. And that's when the real progress kicks in. No more different to when you go for a walk with a pal and you start chatting and you don't realise just how far you've actually walked until you stop for a bit and look back. It's the same for selling on Amazon, and it has flown by for me because it's become my life and I wouldn't change it now. But it all started with habits. So yes, there will be fear. There will be moments of doubt. You will second guess yourself most days. And if you've got the imposter syndrome I've got, several times most days. But put your habits in place and trust them. Because just look at the Facebook group, people from all walks of life making it happen. If we can do it, you can do it. And if you ever need a bit of help or a bit of advice, just shout, because we've got this fantastic community that tells you you are never far from support. Let's get through the interview. Let's talk about the guest. And after that, when I do my usual lovely tip of the week, we'll talk more about habits. Today's guest, let's get him back on here. It's been a few weeks. We've got Steve Brady coming back on, my business partner. There's a few questions that people want to ask him on the Facebook group, and it's about time we had a chat, and it's about time we had a chat on here so you guys all get to see him again as well. And I think the last time we spoke to him, it was all audio. If you're watching this on YouTube, you get a visual interview as well. We're going to cover specifically what plans Steve and I have got as our business venture grows into 2024 using the Facebook group that we have been building. We're really proud of it. We're really proud of the value it brings. And unlike most episodes, I'm recording this before I speak to Steve. But I can hand on heart predict that we will talk about the value that we can give you guys, because it's really important to us. It's not about money. Money comes with it, don't get me wrong. But our goal is to show the regular person out on the street what can be achieved using Amazon selling. And we are determined to make this work. Let's bring Steve in. Let's see what he's got to say. And I'll see you on the other side. Right, welcome back to the show, Steve Brady. We've only ever heard you. People may not have seen you, so this might be a bit of a shock for some people.
Thanks, yeah.
How have you been?
Busy. Not too well the last 48 hours, but that's just me burning the candle at both ends. We're relaunching the deal service, so a lot of admin there. Final stages of the automation for leads, both wholesale and retail. That's going well. Yeah, just recording all the stuff for the new training program in January. So, yeah, need some time off in December to recuperate.
Okay, so when we booked this interview, I put a post out on the Facebook group saying, right, ask away as many questions as you like. A lot of people liked the post. We didn't get that many questions, which is quite reassuring. So I've thrown in a couple that I want answered as well, to be honest with you. Last time we spoke, we talked about your journey, didn't we? We talked about how you left your job, how you started going as an Amazon seller, and then general advice that you had for people selling. We didn't do the next bit. How did you find yourself on the Facebook group? How did you meet me? and how did we get to be business partners?
Okay.
Don't spare the feelings, by the way.
Oh, do you want me to tell everybody about the stalking?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're still banned, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Okay, so what happened was it was May, wasn't it? We go to Cornwall every year, and this year it was May. We do. No, we don't. We don't. We might. We might. We might actually. Yeah. So Sarah and I. Sarah's been to Cornwall for every year for years, and usually with a dog, very dog friendly. So we were down in Watergate Bay, our favourite place, and we had Charlie the dog, and sort of time where I switch off, as in no laptop, and Sarah reads or sleeps, and I walk with the dog, or I just chill out. But I was browsing, and I've been on the group for a few weeks, I think. And then I found myself, I've got the time to provide a response rather than just a like something. I had the time to share my experiences. And I think in that week, I was on it most of the time, to be honest. I was thinking, hold on, I did that a few years ago. Well, here's my advice. And, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. You waste money. And, oh, right, yeah, you need to look at this. And I found myself reliving the first year or so of my journey when I didn't really have sort of group to share and to help me. I thought, yeah, hold on, there's a lot of newbies here, and don't want them to make the same mistakes as I did. Because I lost a lot of money, but then I put a lot of money into it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the 200 quid when I started off a private label. No. Yeah. So then
I remember it. Where was Watergate Bay, by the way?
Where's Watergate Bay? It's about a mile or two north or up the coast from Newquay.
Okay, not between Newquay and Padstow.
Yes, closer to Newquay. Yeah, right next to the airport.
Yeah,
space station.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, we're usually Porthcatham,
right?
Or Harlyn, of course. So Harlyn by top, and we stay just outside Padstow usually.
Yeah, we go to Crantock, we go to Watergate Bay, and then there's another one I can't remember the name of. Not my favourite because it hasn't got a signal, but great ice cream.
Yeah.
So, but they're all so dog friendly. That's great.
That's it. Yeah, I like that you have to pay for the car park now using an app, and there's no signal anywhere, so you're just standing by the parking machine, waving your soda out.
And then when you drive in, and then you look at the sign, and then, oh, it's full, so we'll drive back out again. That's clocked you.
Yeah.
I got 60 quid fine for that once.
No.
Yeah, that was a bit further down south, but no, you go in and you accept the terms and conditions, even before you realise there's no spaces. So, ridiculous.
Sorry, mate. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I remember that post. So I remember you put a picture on saying I got 5G on the beach.
That's it. Yeah,
and
it was a picture of my laptop, wasn't it, and the beach in front.
That's it. It was a long post. I remember because your comments kept on coming up, because at that point there was fewer people in the group, so you would notice the reoccurring names more common.
Yes.
And Claire said to me, "Oh, have you seen Steve Brady's post of the game?" And we looked through the post and we were like, "That's really, really good advice. That's brilliant." And it was like, right, let's keep an eye on him, because we like to keep an eye on the good people and the bad people, Steve, as you well know.
I'm not sure which group I was in then. Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of them. And I think I reached out to you just to say thank you for all of the value you're providing.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. And you and I have the similar background in terms of being trainers. I was training Microsoft when it first came out. So I was training people on how to use a mouse before, people realised that. So that's the norm, green screens and everything like that. But I think we realised quickly that we shared the same values and we wanted to help people. And we've seen a lot of scams ourselves, and people giving bad advice and people just wanting to promote themselves. Well, that's not really how it works, No. And I've because I've been private label, I've done wholesale, I'm doing wholesale, but I've done wholesale wrong. I've done OA and RA. I've made a load of mistakes because I've done it myself.
Yeah.
That's the best way to learn. But then I left a 30-year IT career, put some money behind it, and I could afford to make the mistakes. But these days, people can't. Not many people can. So I want to make sure that every penny that somebody spends in this journey is an investment, either in themselves or in profitable products.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. I often talk about this, saying that we're one of the few people that sell a course that is grounded in 2023 cost of living.
Yes, it is.
It's
Yeah.
we really do value every pound that a person will put into their education and into stock.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that
and
sets us apart.
absolutely. And what annoys me is people being sold products or software that they don't need for this part of the journey.
Yeah.
They go on TikTok and they think, right, okay, well, I'll buy this software or this course, and they need the fundamentals, and then they realise that they don't need that course.
But by that point, they're disillusioned and they quit. And this is what I don't understand,
Yeah,
especially for some of these TikTokers that tell you, oh, how I made £120 in 4 minutes. When the average
yeah,
person goes out and realizes that it doesn't take 4 minutes, it actually takes 4 months.
yes,
That's
yes,
them gone. And that
yeah,
also the TikToker that they've invested in, they won't invest in them for more than a month. And you're thinking
yeah,
that is so short sighted from that person to one, disillusion somebody and also just ruin what relationship you've built with that person. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah. And what relationship you could have long term with them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So,
So I think we,
yeah,
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 I think so. So what I thought I'd do is use this chat to talk about what we are doing next year. What we're going to be launching, touch wood, on New Year's Day 2024. To any
yep,
resolution setters out there, use the rest of this month to research, and we are going
yeah,
big in
yeah.
2024. So what have we got planned, Steve?
Oh, blimey, how long we got?
Yeah.
So we're going to put more content in the training courses. Now, when I say training courses, we're going to have a beginner's one, which is going to be more affordable, but also more accessible,
Mm.
because the challenge that we've had, because we've wanted to be accessible by everybody, we've had to develop the training courses or hold them for when people are available, which is usually in the evenings, and a few people during the day because they work night shifts. And that's not scalable. We're turning people down when we could help them. And people could say, well, yeah, you're just looking out to make money, but I don't need to make money from training. My business is paying me. And we could both lose the training money and still make money in other avenues.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 57 in 5 days' time. Thanks for the card that you're about
You're
to send.
welcome.
Yeah, so no, I'm at the stage of my life where I'm looking to help other people, and I'm financially okay. I'm not a millionaire, but then I've invested money in the business. Bought that motorhome that cost me 20 grand and then blew up. But
Oh,
I'm
mate.
yeah. So we need to make it more scalable, and that's why we have to do recordings so that people can access the recordings not only when they want, but again. It's like a good film. When you haven't seen the film before and you watch it in one go, you're going to miss out some details.
Yeah.
This is a subject that's new to a lot of people. So when we're talking for an hour or two in the evening when they're tired, we don't record it. Therefore, they ask questions because they've missed things. And there's so many times you and I probably want to say, well, we covered that on the course. Well, we covered it on the course, but they were writing down the previous notes or something. So recording is a way of giving the information in a more accessible format and making sure that they have access to it again. However, we don't want to lose the personal touch. So some people may not want to ask questions in a live recording or a live Zoom. And of course, when you're watching a recording, you can't ask questions. So we want to give people the opportunity to have that Q&A session. So we're going to
Afterwards.
do regular Zooms. And you and I, of course, will still be available as much as we are able to for
Yeah.
ad hoc questions, you know. But then there are people that have joined in the last 6 months or so who are ready for the next stage. And that is all about getting ready for an accountant, getting ready for scaling up, managing your inventory. Oh, I'm not just buying 2 or 3 things a week. I'm buying several things a day, and all these deliveries, all these shipments. I've got data to deal with. You haven't just got products. You've got information. You've got money. You've got delivery dates. You've got ASINs to deal with. And so we show people how to set up the infrastructure they need for the financial management and the business management. And we'll build upon what we teach them in the standard course, whatever we decide to call it, and then in the advanced course. That's not really an advanced course because it's a logical extension of the initial framework that we give them.
No,
So
you're right. I've been calling it an advanced course, and it's not. It's more an improved beginner's
it's the next
course,
stage,
isn't it?
it's the next stage of the business, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
You're right.
yes,
And you've hit the nail on the head. The scaling up. Again, when we were running the mentoring program last year, and we had a couple of thousand in Facebook, 2,000-3,000, it was possible because we could be there more. But as the group gets bigger, and I joked about this, I talked about the Old Testament where Jesus would walk among the people because there were fewer of them. When you scale up and you're dealing with 7, 8, 9,000, and my socials tend to be going up, it's impossible for us to have the one-to-one time that we were able to afford to give to people a few months ago. So the only way we can do that is make ourselves available virtually, isn't it, ultimately?
Yes.
So what we've
have a
done,
compromise between having the information available to people but having the personal access, and that's been our biggest challenge.
Exactly right. And you're dead right. People, so we were holding the course on a Tuesday and a Sunday, and people were coming to Tuesday's session that we would repeat on the Sunday, and they would come to that as well. And then at the end of the course, we'd realise maybe they could do with visiting it again. So we'd invite them for free to join the month afterwards.
Yeah.
And we were growing and growing and growing that, and we realised, no, people need multiple viewings because, for no fault of their own, the Amazon verification process has accidentally taken 6 weeks. And all of a sudden, the things they learned wasn't practical. So what we thought we'd do, so what we've done is we've hired a very, very fancy recording studio at Brighton University. We are recording all of it and more. And we're going to have it, exactly like Steve said, fully accessible whenever you want to digest it. And then we'll do a weekly live Q&A, so you still have access to us. You can ask any questions. You can submit any questions to us before if you don't want to speak out loud, and we'll make sure we cover them and things like that. Definitely. Yep. But
we'll continue to adapt to what people need. Yeah.
Exactly right. So when we talk about scaling, yes, we are scaling our business, but we're also scaling the availability we can give you as a person that attends the course, and hopefully give you the same information without having to sacrifice the time that we've got available to you. I think the other thing that we really need to stand out as well is all of the other Amazon communities that I'm part of, and all of the other training packages I've seen, and all of the software that's out there. This is important. All of the software that's out there, none of them track the inventory and your bookkeeping and your disbursements. And this is where you, as an Excel wizard, can see the things that I would never be able to see on my own.
Yeah, as I said before, I used to train on Microsoft. I'm capable of programming Excel to do fancy wizardry things, and as a business analyst, as part of my IT background, I'm always thinking, right, how do I go from here to here in the minimum number of steps and without touching things again? It's like in the prep center, for example. Every time I touch a product, I have to think that's time. That's my time, and it's reducing my profitability, for example. So if I open it, it's time. Because I have to put everything in. I've got a couple of people who are becoming full time next year, but I say to them, right, every time you pack a shipment, that's X amount of time. But sometimes we have to pack a shipment, pack a box to see what will go in, and then because in the early days when I used to do it myself, I wait for the biggest box; it's more efficient, and I went for the most number of items. And then with the weight of the box and with packaging materials, I was regularly getting 23.1, 23.5 kilograms. And Amazon just won't let you go any further after 23. So I've adapted it so that I know the way to the box before I put the items in, and then it's just a case of the different shapes and everything.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of triangular guitars in the prep center at the moment, and they're a bit awkward for some of the boxes. But going back to the Excel things, I've got an Excel, a macro based Excel, and because that is something that you can't get for free, and if you get it for free on the online version, it doesn't support all the macros. So I've had to think about how to deliver that efficiency that I've built up, and I'm still improving it, to everybody. And what's free to everybody is Google Sheets. Now, Google Sheets unfortunately doesn't support the level of automation, the level of macros that Excel does, but it's very powerful. And so there are certain things with a little bit of training. I could teach you how to create an inventory loading template or a product loading template and create a shipment in 3 clicks. And that's the sort of thing that we're bringing to the people, is to do this in Google Sheets. Yeah, you may not have used Google Sheets or a spreadsheet before, but we'll provide all the recordings for it as well. And the reporting, and it will cover, as you say, the inventory, it will cover the purchases, it will cover your bookkeeping. It covers your expenses as a business, and it covers your invoices and your transactions, the bank transactions. Because when you're big enough to want an accountant or start as a bookkeeper with a bookkeeper, then you will save money by making their job easier. And this is what we're getting a lot of. I'm getting a lot of DMs now, Steve. Need an accountant, but I'm in a mess. What do I do? And so I've taken on a few people personally and put their accounts in order so that they're ready to hand over the information to an accountant.
Yeah, no, but we were that way, mate. We got an accountant after £1,000, and it was a mess. We're still picking the bones out of it. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I think we should make it clear that we are not providing accountancy services. We're not qualified.
Oh, God, no. No, don't come to me for accounting.
No, I mean, my 2 boys have just graduated the last couple of years in economics, and one of them is thinking about becoming an accountant.
Very nice.
But at university, they don't train you Excel. So we had to go for a job, and I had to do some Excel training first, because it's all Google Sheets. But this job my second son wanted was Excel based. So, Dad, how do you do VLOOKUPs and pivot tables and formula? So
I suppose a lot of it on the Google Sheets is the if formula, is it?
That's it. Yeah. There's lots of formula. There are lots of ways with Google Sheets that you can create shortcuts and get all your data in one place. And you can put it in pretty pie charts. But it's possible to have everything to run a business in Google Sheets. And the prep center that I run, I give everybody a tracker in Google Sheets, because then I can import it. And to top it up at the beginning, we teach people how to integrate Google Sheets with SAS and Bibot Pro. And then the information in that sheet, when you confirm you want to buy these, gets pulled into your master record. And then that goes into your inventory and everything. And these are things that people don't want to know about, because they want to buy the products and make a profit. But if you are doing this as a proper business, and most people really would like to get out of their day job and have this as a business, you have to know how to run the numbers and manage the information. So that's our next focus, is getting people prepared for making it a proper business.
No, fantastic. Honestly, I know that I'm part of this, but when I hear you talk about that tracker, that is exciting, because there's nothing else out there that can do this all in a one-stop shop.
Well, it is simply a big Google Sheet with a tab for everything, but I'm also working on behind the scenes how to pull this into a database system and integrate that with your Seller Central account. Now, that's a lot more investment in terms of time and money, because I'm not the one these days. I was a solution architect. I didn't do all the coding, so I can design it, but I've got people around the world who are now trusted developers who are working on things. So for next year or so, it's going to be Google Sheets. But I don't
think we're too arrogant or too optimistic when we say by the end of 2024 we want to be the place for beginners and intermediate sellers to come to for an education and for tools that can boost their business. We are going to do the beginners course that we've spoken about, which covers all of the things that the other one did. How to get set up, how to source, how to purchase, how to run your accounts. They're the big 4 pillars that you need as a beginner Amazon seller through online and retail arbitrage. We're going to talk about how to do used books. We're going to do masterclasses on sourcing through through our VA team. We are going to do Keeper reading masterclasses, and Steve and I are doing extensive learning in Keeper at the moment, so we can teach it out as another masterclass. We're going to do wholesale modules that you can add on as a separate entity as well, so you don't have to spend thousands of pounds on a wholesale course, because that is a waste of money. You can do it for hundreds rather than thousands. And we're going to start doing exactly like Steve just said, supplying you tools that can help your smooth running of your business. We want to be the best website you can go to. And eventually what we'd like to do as well is hold things like speaking events, live podcasts where people can come and talk about their experiences. We want new people that started in 2023 and 2024 to come to us and say, because of you, we've done this and I want to share the journey. This is something that we have got plans for, and we desperately want to be the people. And there are other people out there as well, but we want to be the ones at the beginner level that can provide you the most value for the least amount of money and show you what's achievable.
Yeah, and stay with you for your journey.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
key.
Yeah,
you're exactly right, mate. Exactly right.
But we can't be everything to everybody. We can't. Going back to the accountant thing, we can't do that. So we are being clear about what we can provide you with and when you need professional help. I mean, you and I have needed professional help for ages, but
no, but that's important. We're never going to promise you. We're never going to set you up with a false promise, are we? We're never going to say, we're the only ones. No one else there does it. That's a lie. Loads of people do what we do, but we want to be different in providing you the most value. We also know where our shortcomings are. We can't teach you unique bundles. We can't. So what I've done is I've aligned myself with the best person that can teach you unique bundles. Yeah. We might not be able to teach you the best way to use SaaS, but we've aligned ourselves with the CEO of SaaS that can teach you. These things. We can't provide you a VA service, but we've aligned ourselves with the best guy that runs a VA service.
Yeah, we're facilitating bringing everything together, so that we want to be the one-stop shop for providing services, whether it's through our own experience or by recommending people that we know and trust. And the people that we know and trust would be only people whose services or skills that we would use in our own business. So we put skin in the game. Yeah.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. Love it. Right. You've mentioned the prep centre a couple of times. Let's delve into that, because we haven't actually talked about your prep centre properly.
Right.
Talk us through how you decided, the bad story about how you decided to run your own prep centre, and talk us through how people reach out to you and can sign up.
Okay. Involves a lot of money and a court case. So most people will know from the original recordings from you and I that my dream was to run my business from a motorhome, and I bought it in 2019. I bought it secondhand, third, fourth hand. Engine blew up on the way back from Nottingham. I got it repaired, and during COVID, it blew up again because I only went out for short weekends. And at that point, I was outsourcing my prep because I didn't have the capability. I was actually staying in an RAF base because I hadn't met Sarah at the time, and I was staying with my parents because I wasn't sure whether I was going to have another house or go on the road. COVID hit. My parents were 80s, so my brother actually went to the Falklands with his family, and I went to the officers' mess base. Wasn't allowed in the officers' mess though. I stayed there for 6 months, and the prep was still being outsourced. The problem is that the prep center I chose was having problems scaling up. It was a fulfillment center, not an Amazon prep center. They wanted to do Amazon prep, but they were more aligned to Royal Mail and things like that, and fulfillment. So they decided, well, we parted company amicably, but then I outsourced it to a big player, supposedly, and I've got three accounts because I was focusing on beauty and retail and home and garden stuff. I've got three companies, three seller accounts, and I sent all my stuff through this company. I'm not going to name them because it's very public on Facebook. I'm pretty anal with my detail, and I kept track of everything, and it was like a black hole. Lots of things were being confirmed as being received, or no, delivered. Let's be clear. Royal Mail and DHL, whatever, I had the tracking proof, but they weren't checked in by the prep center. And it was a case of, well, no, unless you can prove it's here, well, it's sitting in your premises, you know. But the photos are just, the photos you get from Royal Mail, whatever, are just photos of lots of boxes. You know, you can't prove it. And I thought, no, forget this. I can do it more efficiently myself. And because I didn't have the motorhome anymore, and I had the space, we moved into a brand new house with garage. I boarded up the garage so that at the loft area, so moved everything up the top, created a prep center. So let's be absolutely clear. My prep center is my garage. It is a nice, warm, secure place. It's got cameras everywhere. It's got video recording, power, lighting, and everything. And it is myself and two people that I know and I've been training. They come in part-time when the volumes are there because we try and turn things around very quickly.
Yeah.
I am not renting a warehouse. I'm trying to keep the cost low. If you look at my prep center business on its own, it probably doesn't pay for itself because I should be charging myself rent and everything. But I set it up to facilitate my own companies, my own businesses. And then people were asking me about it, and I said, well, I can offer this, but the USP is that we video record everything that comes in. So if something is damaged when it's arrived, you can actually see, I open the box and there it's leaking. We've had this leaking everywhere. Then we provide photos and everything for evidence, which most prep centers should. But then when we do the Amazon shipments, we have a 2-camera setup where one is on the box and one is on the table where I lay out 9 of these things. And I've got lots of labels and everything, and some of them in the Facebook group. And I've done everything possible to avoid mistakes.
Yeah.
There will always be mistakes at Amazon, either theft or just inefficiencies, one or the other. We've had a few things missing from prep center clients, but with the video evidence, they've been reimbursed or, suddenly they found it. So the problem is, when I say video evidence, you cannot currently send a video into Amazon support. So what we do is whenever we're prepping, we make sure that there's lots of spaces where you can freeze the video and take a screenshot. And that's worked wonders because, hey, here's the packing list, here's the documents, and here's me ticking it off. And I'm always like going, freezing, like a robot, because I'm waiting for the camera to focus, and then you can take a screenshot from it. But supplier deliveries and Amazon deliveries, the information has been used to get clients refunds, but it's only a very small percentage because the labels and everything that we put into it on the outside and on the inside show that we know what's in there, and that's probably deterred a lot of light fingers,
Yeah.
So I do my own
make it clear on your boxes as well, don't you? Everything's been done under surveillance. So if you are an Amazon, if you are someone with a rogue streak on you and you've handed your notice in and you think, oh, who cares? I might accidentally do this. That isn't the box you can do. And that's the thing. It's deterrent. You're never going to do it, but you want to make sure they don't do it to your boxes.
That's right, but the problem is everybody needs to realise that we are in a retail business. Even if we buy wholesale, we're in a retail business. Shoplifting and damaged stock is a way of life in the business, and you have to allow for that. So everything you can do to minimise that is great, but you will have stock going missing. Which is one of the reasons I personally don't invest in very expensive electrical items, because they break and then people get a return and then they return the old one.
Ditto. I don't touch electrical you asked about, or computer games.
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely, yeah. You asked about how people can sign up. I'm not advertising it. I'm not promoting it actively. I'm only offering prep services through the Facebook group, and I'm very selective about who we take on. And if you're going to send in thousands of units on a truck, we're not the prep center for you.
Yeah.
If you want to send in a few items a month, seriously, you can do that yourself probably. On average, my clients are sending in about 200 to 300. I've just done the invoicing for November, and the average is about 300 units a month. So because the average bill is 270 to 320.
Yeah, you
For
need to
pound a
be a
month.
decent OA seller for your service to make it viable and to make it cost effective.
Yeah.
Enough where you do notice that when the prep has been taken out of your hands, it's a relief, but you're not still spending thousands.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we can take on more clients at the moment because the two people I've got part time, I can take on. I'm ready to take them on full time, so we can take on more clients. But I haven't been pushing it because I wanted to spend time focusing on preparing the training courses.
No, that's true. And yeah, without going into the details as well, what we haven't spoke about, Steve and I here, is the other stuff that we're doing, which we are rolling out invite only on test basis before we can offer more information. But we are doing an awful lot of work in the wholesale space, which is how we're learning an awful lot about wholesale enough that we can start training it. What would be really nice, mate, well, before we wrap it up, because I've no doubt you'll be coming back on in the next few months or so, let's talk van life. Because everyone that comes through the group, hashtag van life, anyone that comes through the group, I get to see what groups they're in. Sorry, we get to see as admin what groups they're all in.
Yeah.
And there are thousands of you that are in van life, caravan and camping clubs. I've got a caravan. Yeah, Steve's got his sadly broken van that's on the mend. We have got a little community of Amazon seller van life wannabes.
Yeah.
So, mate, talk us through it. Where are your favourite places to go?
Well, my plan before COVID was to go through France and Spain, because in France there's a lot of these airs, AIRES, which have electricity and you stay for a couple of days. And there's a couple of books like the old AA massive road maps that just document the northern and southern areas. France is pretty good for having that. I almost booked up a 30-day stay in Spain where you just hook up and then you all hook up around a swimming pool, and there's a little bar there, the Orange Grove, I think it was called. That was my favorite. I was following them quite a bit. But then I was following a guy, Kit Williams, I think, and he was about my age, and he was going around Portugal and everything, and he lives there. Lives on a quite an old motorhome, and documenting problems about repairs and things like that. But then I was going to go into the eastern side of Europe, Switzerland and everything. And of course, Ukraine has kicked in on that.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. A friend of mine who was a trainer, funny enough, who helped me develop this training program. He's an old friend from my day job. Him and his husband, they retired and they took their van and they went over the channel. And they were there when COVID hit, so they ended up staying there for the best part of 18 months. And exactly like you said, just darting from camp to camp to camp around the south of France into the rest of the continent. What a life!
Yeah. Oh, it is, and the key thing is having a good quality infrastructure, heating and plumbing and everything, and a good shower was the main thing I was looking at. I actually bought a 6-seater, 2 over the top of the cabin, and then 4 bed areas, but I didn't really want to keep making up the bed every night, and I had a little dog at the time.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of work in 2019 testing it. I've had a few Zooms with people from there. Yeah, the key thing is make sure you're in a good signal area, but you can do everything from a van, from remote. And I've got clients who are in London working, but they're too busy to do a lot of OA, and I do their preps and I take their returns as well. So you don't need to touch a product once you've got the infrastructure. I mean, to be honest, if you have somebody who does your sourcing, somebody does your purchasing, and somebody handles your prep, you don't need to be involved in the business. Some people do that.
Absolutely right. That's from a personal point of view. I'm looking to reach out into other markets, so I won't be touching stock because what's the point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to be totally independent. And Sarah, my partner, she runs a nursery, so she can't even work from home. So that's very intensive. But when she retires in 8 years' time or whatever it is, we're saving up. We're going to buy a brand new motorhome. It'll have sat nav and things like that in it. So touchscreen maybe, whatever we'll do by then. It'll probably fly by then. I don't know. And then we're going to take a year out and go round places like this.
Right, I think that's a good note to end it on, van life, Steve. We'll have you back in a couple of months, mate. We'll have another chat and see how we're progressing. In the meantime, thank you for coming on, and always a pleasure.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
There we go. We won't break that into 2 weeks for that one. We don't really need to. I think that can be very nice as a one-off episode. But it was lovely, wasn't it, catching up with Steve? It's been a little while since he's been on here, and he is always good value. And what always strikes me with Steve is his knowledge, especially when it comes to the horrible side of a side business. Let's call it what it is. No one likes doing the accounting, the admin, the financing, the tracking, the bookkeeping. No one likes doing that. And what Steve's done is used his skills as an IT specialist in Excel to create this master spreadsheet that we are really excited in launching. Because if we can take away the pain from the boring side, it allows you to carry on tapping into your creative side and do the things that you're good at and hopefully make some money on the side as well. And this is the beauty. It's not just about Amazon selling either. Any side business where you're looking to generate another income will need this kind of admin. But when we talk about the mentoring program, we are really excited about what it is we're planning to offer. The beginner's course alone has got nothing but 5-star reviews for nearly 6 months now. And what we're looking to do is build on that, still provide you with the exact same content that that course gave you, as well as building on that and providing a few more modules on top of what we've been learning over the last year or so, and then giving you access to it so you can watch it again and again and again, and also be there for you weekly so we can answer any questions that you may have having viewed the training for the last week. We are currently building a waiting list for that. So if you do want to come onto the course and you do want to put your name on the waiting list, I'll put the details down in the show notes. Just reach out to me, pop a comment on a Facebook post, pop a comment on any one of the places down below here, pop a comment to Steve, and we will get you on this waiting list. We're going to launch this with a bang, and we're going to run a competition for somebody to have free access to everything for life and have exclusive access to Steve and I to help you on your journey. Much, much more detail to come on that coming very soon throughout the month. In terms of Steve's Prep Centre, I'll put notes down there in the show notes as well that tells you how you can contact him with a view to join his Prep Centre. That will do it. Let's get to the tip of the week, just like I promised. Tip of the week. Set your habits. We often overlook the simplicity of this, but setting good habits, it really does set you apart on whatever journey you find yourself on. Here's the deal. Success in Amazon selling or any field really, it's not just about grand one-off gestures. It's the little things, the daily habits that build up over time and create something massive like building a brick wall. After all, it's just, never mind. Start by dedicating a small, consistent amount of time each day to an aspect of your business, whether that's researching products or ideas, setting pricing schedules, setting pricing strategies, or just checking emails. It's all about consistency. That's the key. Just start with 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes is nothing. Just start with 20 minutes a day. See what you can do, and it will start to add up. Because here's something that I swear by. Write down your goals. Write down your habits, because it's the habits that will get you to those goals. There's power in seeing them in black and white. It makes them real. It makes them tangible. Stick them somewhere you'll see every day, either on your fridge, next to your computer, I carry these little books around in my pocket. Some people put them on the bathroom mirror. So remember, building good habits isn't just about making huge leaps overnight and life-changing decisions that you look back on in 20 years. It's not about that. It's about small, tiny steps that lead to results over time. Set the habits, write them down, stick to them, and watch how they transform you. All right, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to enjoy these shows. If you've missed any over the previous couple of months, go back and have a little listen. Each guest provides something new about their story, which gives you some more insight into what they do and the things that made them get to where they've got to. For me, listening to them firsthand, it's been transformative. I can't say that enough. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a rating and a review. Please tell your friends, either in our Facebook group or other Facebook groups or Discords or other communities out there. We believe we're trying to be the best podcast for new and experienced sellers on Amazon and other entrepreneurs moving into the digital space. We are doing more to reach out and speak to people that aren't necessarily Amazon sellers to try and get experiences and detail on how you can be a success in other fields as long as you take action and you have the right mindset with determination, resilience, and abundance of growth in the face of failure. That will do for me. Bring in the music, please. Bring in Robin. Let's see you next week. I'll bid you adieu. Take care.
Be sure to join us next time for another dose of inspiration and insights into e-commerce and entrepreneurship. And who knows, by then, Des may well have finished that love project. And always remember, it's time to say goodbye, poor. Hello, rich. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. We know times are tough right now, and if you are struggling financially, please seek help from an appropriate organisation. We've included a link to the Citizens Advice Bureau in the show notes. Remember, you should always consult with a qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions.